Hi, I'm Rebecca Descalzo, and here at St. John's I'm involved with M.U.M.S. And I help with adoration, and I'm also a parent. I have 3 kids, one at Holy Family, one here at St. John's, and another one at Fall River. So I was born and raised in Palmer, Alaska. It's like a small town of maybe 3,000, 4,000 people, so it was really small. But we always went to church on Sunday and Sunday school. We never missed a mass unless there was probably 3 feet of snow. We were pretty involved at church, but it was a small church, and I would say, there weren't a lot of opportunities to do a lot of things beyond Sunday school. So I don't think my faith life was very strong growing up. I just don't feel like the church was very equipped to teach and give kids a good faith formation in that small parish. That was something I sought out later in life, and I became more involved when I actually came to this church and this parish. So we ended up in Longmont, Colorado. Let's see, how did that happen? I guess it goes back to my junior year in college. I went on a study abroad to Spain. So I spent 12 months studying in Madrid, and that's where I met my husband. I had Spanish roommates, so through mutual friends, I met my husband, and we dated for that year that I was in Madrid, and then we were apart for a year, my senior year, when I was back at Gonzaga, finishing up my degree. And then as soon as I finished college, I was back in Spain, and we got married. And we lived there for a year after we got married, and then it came to a point where we wanted to move back to the United States, and we had to make a decision where. And Alaska wasn't really a good fit for Carlos. He was trying to do a video production career, and there's not a lot of urban life that would support a career like that. So we had to find somewhere else besides Alaska, and he wasn't really into the climate either. And being a small town girl from Alaska, I wasn't really into the big city life of Madrid either. So we had to find some place in the middle, and we just kind of picked Denver, Colorado. The first 4 years being in Longmont, we kind of floated around. There was Spirit of Peace, and there was St. John's, and we weren't involved with parish life really. You can go to St. John's actually for a really long time, being such a large parish, and not really get to know anybody. And that was kind of our situation. We hadn't really gone out of our comfort zone to get more involved. We really hadn't met anybody. Fast forward a little bit, and I had my first child. So that was when I was at Mass one day, and someone behind me had noticed I was struggling through Mass with my baby, and he was wiggly and he was loud, and you're always trying to keep him quiet. As a first-time mom, you're really sensitive about them making noise and being a disruption. But I remember after Mass, Lana Crowley, actually the founder of M.U.M.S, had noticed me, and she gave me a flyer of, to attend M.U.M.S. And I had noticed it in the bulletin before and thought maybe that would be interesting, but I had a personal invitation now, and I was ready to go. So I went to my first M.U.M.S meeting, and that was the first time I ever engaged in any sort of parish life or parish activity outside of Mass. M.U.M.S, I think, was the starting point of where I finally, engaged in the parish. I think it just started a lot of really good things for me. It really got my ball rolling with my faith life, and it became a big part of my journey at St. John's. M.U.M.S stands for Moms, or Mothers Uplifting Mothers Spiritually. M.U.M.S opened up a lot of windows and opportunities and inspired me in really a lot of ways. M.U.M.S is a time where you can set down your kids, and there's babysitting provided, so moms can take a break and actually have a discussion, a meaningful discussion, a conversation, take in a speaker, absorb something. Moms honestly can go years and years and years without taking in and absorbing and just nourishing themselves with the Mass because they're so busy during Mass. So M.U.M.S for me kind of filled that gap. It gave me some inspiration, some motivation on the side that, it kind of keep me going. And while M.U.M.S isn't designed to be religious education, it was for me. It was definitely religious education for me that I had missed as a kid. I learned more about the Catholic faith in M.U.M.S than anywhere else in my life. At Gonzaga University, at all my years of Sunday school, I learned more at M.U.M.S because of the deep, rich friendships and discussion topics that we had and the speakers that we have had brought in. There was something I learned at M.U.M.S that kind of shocked me, and I was kind of shocked because I hadn't been taught it before. It was the real presence of the Eucharist. I had never really been communicated clearly in my whole faith journey, even though I was, had First Communion, had my confirmation. I had never been explained to it in a way that it really sunk in. I remember thinking, oh, wow, so I missed that all along. I think M.U.M.S seriously has filled so many religious education gaps. Well, I think motherhood is kind of a synonym for self-sacrifice. And it's a battle. It's a battle because you don't always want to make those self-sacrifices. But it's demanded of you when you're a mom. And it can be tough. And I mean, right from the get-go, you sacrifice your body. And it gets stretched out of proportion, and it never quite goes back to, it's a new normal, let's put it that way. And then from there on, it's your time. Before motherhood, you probably do more athletic things and more hobbies, and you spend more time with your friends. And then a whole new focus comes into life, and it's beautiful and it's amazing, and you love it, but it takes a lot of self-sacrifice. One time we had a conversation about the Exodus 90 program around the dinner table with some Catholic friends, and some moms were like, well, we should have an Exodus 90 program for women. And another mom was saying, well, I don't think they need one because moms already have sacrificed so much naturally. Like, we've given up alcohol for 9 months and then the duration of the time we're nursing our baby. So it could turn out to be 2 years of, a sacrifice. So it was kind of a funny discussion. I'm not dissing the program Exodus 90 because it's an amazing program with a lot of spiritual growth. But it was just an example of some self-sacrifices that just naturally come about with motherhood. The beautiful thing about M.U.M.S is you're immediately welcomed in and you're given an assigned table for a small group. So there's never any point in M.U.M.S where you're going to be on your own, alone, and having to introduce yourself to anybody. It's really easy to get involved. Really, you just show up and you're immediately assigned a small group, so you'll never be on your own without anybody that you don't know. You're welcomed in immediately. We try to provide a lot of great speakers and discussion topics and conversation starters for moms to get to know each other, build some friendships, so when they go to Mass, they start to see some friendly faces. Especially for new moms, it's really important. But we do take moms of all ages, like moms parenting kids of all ages. M.U.M.S usually runs throughout the school year, so we take a break in the summer. But through the school year, September through May, we run our meetings 9 to 11 in Benedict Hall twice a month. Well, something that started in M.U.M.S from friends and moms when I was a young mom and I hadn't chosen a school for my kids yet. Other friends at M.U.M.S were encouraging me to, if at all possible, make sure my kids got into St. John the Baptist Catholic School. And they're like, if at all possible, it's going to be the best thing you ever do for your kids. And I do think that was the best decision we have ever made as parents for our kids, is getting our kids into St. John the Baptist Catholic School, because it has been such a game changer for them. And I compare their growth in religious education compared to mine when I was just doing Sunday school 1 day a week. And the difference is astronomical. They learned things in middle school religion that I hadn't figured out until I was in my adult years. And I'm just so happy that they're so blessed to have that experience. I think one of my favorite things about Father Daniel is that he speaks Spanish like me, and we both speak it, with our accents. I like to go to Spanish Mass with him because I really understand his accent really well, because I feel like he's kind of how I learned my Spanish. And it might be silly, but I think it's really cool to have a non-Hispanic Spanish-speaking priest also at our church. My favorite thing about Father Umberto is maybe something simple, but it's very welcoming about him. He has an incredible smile, an incredible presence about him, incredible charisma about him that really draws people in. And he just has a friendly nature that makes people feel welcome in our church. And It might seem like a small thing, but it's not. It's a huge thing to feel welcome, and he really makes a difference welcoming people in with that smile. You know, that's something I like about both our priests, is they are both so joyful to be priests. They are so joyful in their vocation, and it shows. And that's a beautiful thing, I think, that our parish has really benefited from. Okay, shout out to Mother Teresa, but she was second favorite. My very favorite is Saint Monica. She's a mom, she was mom, and she was wife, and it was brutally difficult for her, but she was amazing, and she had such perseverance in being a wife and being a mom in a difficult situation that I think she's very, very inspiring in that way. And I know that her son, St. Augustine, gets a lot of credit for being this very heroic saint. I do not think it would have been possible without her being behind him all the way. In fact, I think he'd probably be not a saint at all if it hadn't been for her. Her husband was also very difficult, and she ended up converting him towards the end of his life, and her mother-in-law. So she was quite the inspiration.
Oh, I didn't know about the mother-in-law.
Yeah. If you want more information about moms, you can contact us here.